set up really quick. Haley, thank you. Appreciate that, love. I got you, man. No worries. We'll go ahead and wait for everybody to get up in here. Oh, my goodness. Thank you. Thank you. Trying to keep up with everybody else, looking nice and fresh. Millie, what's up? Jody, guys, thank you so much for being here. Yeah, yellow's a nice summer, springy color. So, there's nothing wrong with that at all. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Conversation, I see you, bro. Let me get you on that red real quick, too, man. Appreciate you coming in, dude. Steve, what's up? Guys, we'll wait till, 30? What you guys think, 30? Yes, I'm back at the office. I hope everybody had a good Mother's Day, by the way. For anybody that's not a mother, hopefully you have someone that you look up to that you consider a great mom. So I hope everybody had a great Mother's Day. It was a really awesome holiday to celebrate with everybody. I know that mothers are huge to a lot of different people for a lot of different reasons. And I hope everybody, again, had a great and amazing Mother's Day. And guys, we also got Father's Day coming up too. So appreciate all the amazing fathers out there. For everybody that is a father or a mother, those are certainly important roles to have and play in people's lives. So guys, we'll go ahead and get started real quick. This is a show that we do every single Monday night. It's called Gratitude, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time every single Monday. And the show is about finding people who wish to show more thanks during their life. Each week we have guests that recall their circumstances, people and memories that have humbled them to help them reflect and grow through the act of gratitude. So that's certainly something that we do every single Monday night at 10. So I just want to welcome to you, kind of let you know what the show is about. Just to kind of give a recap of last week, we'll go ahead and start off. Every week we do a quote just to kind of leave you guys with to go into the new week's topic. And so this week's quote, guys, is this: loyalty cannot be blueprinted. It cannot be produced on an assembly line. In fact, it cannot be manufactured at all. For its origin is the human heart, the center of self-respect and human dignity. It is a force which leaps into being only when conditions are exactly right for it. And it is a force very sensitive to betrayal. Read that one more time, guys. Loyalty cannot be blueprinted. It cannot be produced on an assembly line. In fact, it cannot be manufactured at all. For its origin is the human heart, the center of self-respect and human dignity. It is a force which leaps into being only when conditions are exactly right for it. And it is a force very sensitive to betrayal. So, guys, we're going to get into a little bit of topic tonight with our second guest. But this week's topic, we're going to recap last week's topic, which was humility. And at the time, I want to welcome a really awesome friend of mine to the box. We'll introduce her here in a second, let her talk to you. If you want to request that box, I really appreciate that here at this time. This is certainly, guys, someone that I've known for quite a while. She's certainly been an amazing person. She certainly started with me from the beginning, and I want to just welcome Miss Doll Baby Forever to the box.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. So good to see you.
See me better.
Thank you so much for taking time to be on the show. I really appreciate that. I know that you're busy. I know that you're also a mom. I hope you had a wonderful Mother's Day with your family. I hope that it was everything you wanted it to be and more on your special day.
It was another Mom's Day. I mean, I think that most moms kind of wish that on their Mother's Day that they just get left alone.
Right? Sometimes.
But it was very good. I ended up having to take my oldest son to work for the first time because he finally started working, and that was a hassle, just trying to get used to getting all of the kids ready first and like trying to time that all out, but then being able to spend some time with the kids and then also separate fights. But it was still good. My kids are young, I imagine it'll be so much more nicer when my grown kids come and then they bring their grandbabies. I'm looking forward to those times too.
Well, absolutely. And again, I just wanted to wish you a happy Mother's Day. Like I said, it's a huge, important day for so many wonderful mothers around the world. And, like I said, with you being a mother yourself, I just wanted to wish you an incredible Mother's Day. Um,
Thank you.
at the time, if you want to kind of just introduce yourself, familiarize people with you, anything you'd like to share, just to kind of let people get to know you a little bit better.
Okay, well, I'll just go by baby. I mean, some people that have followed Jamison's Instagram and stuff too can find out my real name. I've been through a lot of trauma in relationships and stuff, so I deal with PTSD and some mental health issues that go along with trauma and relationships and whatnot. But um, I've came all I've came really far from growing. I also was very humbled, I guess you could say, or humiliated over the summer with the breakup too. And it made me realize like how I was sometimes and look at my negative traits in relationships,
Yeah.
and just see where I could have done better. Um, it keeps on popping up the little thingy thing. Noted.
Oh, you're fine. But you know what? Like you said, I think sometimes when you go through situations and circumstances like that, it certainly helps you learn a lot about yourself. It certainly helps you learn what you are wanting to tolerate in your life, or
Hmm.
certainly what are qualities and characteristics that you'd like to apply to your own life to make yourself better. I mean, because like you said, you have kids, you certainly want to be
Hmm.
the best example, the best mother that you can be for them. And I think that, like you said, we all go through different things. Um, as we talk about humility, as we talk about what that really means, how does that hit you? What really comes to your mind when you think of humility?
Um, Being content and grateful for what I have. Um, I don't like to compare, but in situations where I might be not grateful for what I have, it's a lot easier to look at maybe third world countries and just seeing how they can be so happy with having little and just everything that they go through. And then I look around and see how we are. A lot of people are in the United States. Just like look at my own situation and just learning to be grateful for what I have. Like if I have my basic needs being met, then everything else is a bonus.
Absolutely. It really is,
So,
because it's a lot of times, I think, when it comes down to situations like that, you want to be appreciative and grateful for what you have, because it certainly doesn't take long for you to look around and see what other people's situations are in, what their life is in. And you can
mhm,
look at yourself and say, hey, look, there's not a whole lot of difference between what separates what I'm at and where they are right now. It certainly
mhm,
makes you very humble. It certainly makes you very appreciative of what you have, because I mean, like I said, a lot of people can struggle. A lot of people can not have a lot going on in their life. And like you said, these third world countries, I mean, these people have hardly nothing,
mhm.
and they live these lives of content and humility. And it certainly makes us, I think, at the end of the day, very grateful and appreciative for what we have in our own life.
Definitely. I
Yeah.
agree.
As you have experienced some things in your life, I mean, obviously, you've had some traumatic experiences dealing with PTSD and things of that nature. Um, to put more of a positive spin on that, what have been some things that really have made you humble in your own personal life, maybe with your children, or maybe
Mm.
with family, or what have you? What's really some examples you'd like to use in your own personal life?
So, growing up, I had a big family. So, I have five siblings. I'm the second oldest out of six. I'm the oldest daughter. And my mom popped them out pretty close together. So, um, that meant that she was a lot more tired. My children are 3 years and 9 months apart from each other. So, I had that nice
Wow.
space.
Yeah.
Um, but my mother, having the kids so close in age, kind of left me with a lot of responsibilities, and my maternal instincts had to kick in
Sure.
fairly quickly. My dad also worked very, very hard or very long hours, but then they also partied quite a bit, so that was really rough to see my parents not getting along. So I had that aspect of like kind of growing up in a household where we didn't have a whole lot of money at times. Like the neighbors would, I remember being pretty young and the neighbors giving us food. Um, and then my parents went through their issues, or my dad got taken away by the police. I remember that and just being mad at my mom for calling the police for my dad getting taken away. But then my mom had to try and learn how to do everything on her own. So with 5 kids at the time, before my sixth or my fifth sibling came along, she had to be a single mom. And that meant she wasn't home either. So we grew up a lot of time without having our dad around. But when he was around, it was very, very precious time and very quality time. So I think as we got older and their relationship just even disapart or separated even more and there was that disconnect, that's where a lot of abandonment issues came in. But I've learned to grow from that though too. I'd say
Right.
those abandonment issues definitely stuck with me up until probably last year. Now, I
Yeah.
wasn't really aware of those things too, but who wants to admit that there's something wrong with themselves and want to try and fix it? It's easier just to kind of try and cover it up with stuff. But we've been homeless quite a few times. When I tried to leave my past toxic relationships, being so codependent, um, and well, I guess you could say expecting them to provide in certain things for me. I had to learn how to do those things on my own. So building my own credit, buying my own vehicle, trying to find housing and such. But then not knowing how to fully be on my own was a huge thing, though, too. Um, I've slept on people's couches multiple times. As far as being humble, I think there's a huge ego thing that goes on along with like parents who separate.
Hmm.
So when my first relationship didn't work out with my older 2 kids' father, um, I knew that I couldn't provide them that stability. And I asked him to actually take the kids because he had a stable roof over his head and I still didn't know where I was going to be sleeping the next day. And it was pretty hard for me to find a couch, or a location to bring my 2 kids. And that was really, really hard. And then to
Yeah.
have another woman around my children, raising them, and then to hear them start calling her mom, like that just really made me, like, it ached in my heart because, I wanted to be there. I wanted things to work out. Things don't work out. Um, so learning to accept that my children were calling somebody else mom, but then also learning to love her as well. I didn't learn how to do that until I met my youngest kid's father, when I started to realize like how hard it was for me to get along with his other son's mother, and then just wanting to have that relationship and seeing how my part in just like being mad at my kids.
Yeah.
I was mad at my kids for calling her mom. I was mad at my kids for liking her, and it was a jealousy thing. But then I was also not knowing how to deal with that type of love and
Yeah.
understanding that, this is another mom. Like,
Yeah.
I'm portraying her, I'm pushing on this evil stepmom. I don't want to teach my kids to hate the second mom, because
Right.
they
It
have a
is. It's tough
second
to
mom and
understand those
some don't even have
relationships.
one.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, like you said, I mean, it's tough to understand those relationships. It's tough to be in those situations. But as you are faced with those and as you're put into those situations, like you said, it makes you very humble, makes you very appreciative
Hmm.
of the situations you've been in, and certainly being able to grow from that. So yeah, I love that. I love that. Guys, if you're new here, this is a show that we do every single Monday night. It's called Gratitude, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. The show's about finding people who wish to show more thanks during their life. Each week we have guests that recall circumstances, people, and memories that have humbled them, that help them reflect and grow through the act of gratitude. And right now we're talking to
Thanks for the love.
Dove Forever. She's certainly sharing a story about, where she's been in her life and how it's made her humble. As you continue to grow up, as you continue to, try to be the best mom version for your children you could be, what are some things that you learned to teach them about humility? What are some things that you learned from your own personal experience and some of the steps that you went through in life that really helped them, grasp what it means to be humble and appreciative of where, you could be or where you were and where you are now?
That's a loaded question. um, I think that a good example that I've been trying to recently really apply is that admitting to my children when I'm wrong and
Hmm.
saying I'm sorry when I'm wrong. Um, I think that as adults, or just even as people in general, we try and hold other people to a standard, right? Is what's respectful, what's not, and not expecting my kids to not swear, or not expecting them to be disrespectful, and expecting them to not yell at me, but then I'll turn around and I'll do the same thing. And it takes a lot for me now because I'm trying to be more self-aware of my actions or my reactions to their actions. And um, so then coming to the point where I can apologize to them.
Yeah.
It's to not swear, or not expecting them to be disrespectful, and expecting them to not yell at me, but then I'll turn around and I'll do the same thing. And it takes a lot for me now because I'm trying to be more self-aware of my actions or my reactions to their actions. And um, so then coming to the point where I can apologize to them
Yeah.
and say that,
I think a lot of
yesterday was
people
a good
struggle with that.
example.
Yeah, I think a lot of people struggle with that sometimes is when you're wrong, it's okay to say you're sorry. I think a lot of
Mhm.
times that's where humility can come in to play is to admit when you're wrong, be able to apologize, be able to move past, the shortcomings of whatever
Mhm.
particular situation you're dealing with, and to be able to say that. And I think a lot of times too, for people to be able to forgive, I think is important too. I think it all kind of goes hand in hand. It all works together, because none of us are perfect. I mean, I think we all kind of fall short of, where we want to be, or
Yeah.
the people that we want to be. But you certainly want to continue to set the example. And I think it's especially important, when you do have children, to be able to do that. Like you said, you're very self conscious of, things that you say, the language that you use,
Mhm.
and being humble. When children's minds are like sponges. If they see
Yeah.
someone that's selfish, if they see someone that doesn't want to, ever give for other people, they just want to always take all the time.
Mhm.
That I think, in my own personal opinion anyway, I think that that doesn't really set a good example or a good tone for kids. But if
Right.
you're able to be humble, if you're able to show kids that it's all right to be that way, then I think that they certainly appreciate that even more, because
Yeah.
you can certainly, like you said, you can lead by example. You can show them, what has worked for you and what hasn't worked, and hope that
Mhm.
whatever you're showing them, they'll be able to apply when they're old enough to be able to understand how all that works.
It's a struggle for sure
Yeah.
because I mean we can still, all we can do is our best, right? So even if
Mhm.
we have these talks of our expectations and we communicate, it's still ultimately up to the child, or it's up to the other person whether or not they understand. And then also to try and take it from their perspective too. I've been trying to ask the kids a lot more questions, where I realized where I wasn't asking them questions, and I would get mad because they were just assuming, or they would get mad because I was assuming, and I'd just be rude and I'd cut them off and they're talking and then tell them that they can't. So it's just like seeing that like hypocritical being a parent stance of just like holding our kids to be so high, and then or just these standards to be so high, and then it just not being realistic. I think the schools are another example where kids are just supposed to be sitting in a desk, and not doing anything. Well, they're children and they want to move around and they want to be doing stuff, and it's hard.
Yeah, it
It's
really is.
hard.
I mean, I
Um,
personally don't have children myself, but I know that, it's tough. I hear a lot of people that I know personally, that have kids, and being able to set that example, being able to set, the tone for what you want them to see is tough, because
mhm,
outside, influence and interference. And
mhm,
if they're not able to see the humility, if they're not able to see the humbleness at home, then they're
yeah,
certainly not going to be able to see that, out in the world, at school, going
mhm.
over to a friend's house, maybe going over to, other, kids' friends' house, and maybe their mom and dad doesn't really set that tone either. I think is certainly, important to show that, especially.
The external influences is really where I'm struggling with,
Hmm.
because the world has become so digitalized and desensitized and more into technology and video gaming and all of these different platforms that we have. I mean, look at Meet Me has how many different apps that have merged together with it. um, it's just their brains being sponges, how much are they paying attention to? But the other thing is how much are we paying attention to what they're paying attention to, and
Right.
missing out on that. Like I just earlier today, probably about an hour and a half ago, I walked downstairs and my son was on YouTube, which normally it hadn't been that big of a deal, but there's these cartoons and they're not appropriate for kids. You'd think it would be like the normal TV shows that they would be watching, and they're sexualized. And it's like there's a lot of bad things that are out in this world, that are essentially poisoning our kids' minds too. And I kind of want to shelter them
Yeah.
from all technology and all external influences, and just kind of let them think on their own. Let them study what they want to study. What do they find time studying, as long as it's like progressive in this
Yeah.
world. It's not just digitally, but
But that's
um,
important for them to see that, because like you said, you want
yeah,
them to, you don't want to shelter them too much in life, but like you want to be
no,
able to control, or absorb, some of the things that they see, and,
hmm,
are influenced in their own mind and their ears and their eyes. And then that
yeah,
way, you have a lot of control over that. I think a lot of times, like you said,
exactly,
I think a lot of times, like you said, when everything's kind of, technology driven and, computerized and things like that, we get away from, being able to teach the important things like the humbleness and the humility,
hmm,
because, we all, even as adults, we get kind of lost in our own selves. We get kind of
hmm,
lost in our own little bubble, in our own little life. And
yeah,
what we have to do is kind of take a step back from, what we've kind of created, and be able to appreciate the more important things in life, and the different walks of life that we want to be on in a good way, in a good direction. So
yeah.
yeah.
I agree.
Um, so in closing, is there anything you like to leave with anybody about humility? Anything you'd like to leave encouraging words with people to just, give them some hope or some gratitude?
Um, well, I do have a saying that I started to say, I guess you could say, over last year. Something that I realized a lot of people try to put conditions on love and
Okay.
acceptance. And I had realized how judgy I had been towards other people, and how, I guess you could say, desensitized I had become, and not paying attention to the things that really mattered, like spending time with my kids and doing things outside of on the TV or playing video games, and just getting out into the real world.
Right.
Um, not just ordering dinner and actually cooking them a healthy meal. Um, but that love and acceptance, and that judginess or not judgy is, I grew up hearing from family members, I love you, but a lot. And that made me feel a certain way. I took it this way, but typically in like an English sentence, if you say something and then you say but, it's supposed to like cancel out, the
What
first
you
part of
just
that
did.
sentence. Yeah.
Right.
And so when I'd hear I love you, but well, you did this, it felt like it was conditional, and that in order for me to receive love or be accepted and not judged, then I basically had to do what it was that that person had said that I
Yeah.
needed to do, that wasn't acceptable in their eyes. And so I say now, I love you, no buts.
Right. Well,
So no
that's certainly a great
conditions.
attitude to have. I love that, and I hope that as you continue to move forward, especially after, having a Mother's Day yesterday, I hope that you continue to feel like you're
Yeah.
loved. I hope you feel like you're continue to be appreciated with the important people in your life. And I just want to again thank you so much for being on the show. Like I said, you've known me for a very long time now, quite a while. I think you knew me
Yeah.
when I first started on the app, and
Yeah.
it's always so awesome, and so,
Thank you.
gratifying to still be able to keep in touch with people that kind of pretty much knew you from the beginning.
Yeah, I thank you for having me on here too, and for letting me share a little bit about my story. Being a mom is hard, being an adult is hard,
Right.
being human is hard. So
Absolutely. All the above.
just yeah, let's
Right.
learn to take more time for ourselves and actually listen to our emotions instead of trying to stuff it away. Like if we feel
Right.
like crying, cry. If we feel like
Just let it
sleeping
out.
a little bit longer, like really getting in tune with our own bodies and listening to our bodies is a huge thing.
Absolutely.
So
Well, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for taking the
yeah,
time out of your busy schedule. Again, I hope you had a wonderful Mother's Day, and I just appreciate you being here.
thank you for having
All right.
me. We'll see you again. Mwah.
All right. Take care. Wow, guys, such a wonderful person. She's been through a lot in her life, and it certainly made her who she is today. And I'm glad that she took the time to be here. I'm glad that she was able to share her amazing story and how important it is for her to continue to be the best mom that she can for her children, be the best adult that she can for her life and the people that are in it, and for us to all certainly try to take a lot from that in as much that we possibly can. So, guys, just again want to welcome you to the show that we do every single Monday night. It's called Gratitude, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. The show's about finding people who wish to show more thanks during their life. We have guests every single week that recall, circumstances, people, and memories that have humbled them, to help them, reflect and grow through that to gratitude. And we were certainly sharing a wonderful story with Miss Doll Baby, and how it's really affected her life, and being humble and having the humility. So, guys, at this time we're going to switch gears. We're going to talk about introducing this week's new topic, and that is loyalty. He's down here. Wanted to welcome a really awesome guy that I had the pleasure to meet last week on Mr. Chris Casper's show, which is, guys, every Monday or every Wednesday night, suited up, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And I was just blown away by this guy. He's just a very genuine guy. He's certainly going to be able to share a lot about himself. And I'm certainly going to welcome him to you guys, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Your Conversation Coach himself, Mr. Darius Brown.
What's going on? What's going on, man?
Yo, what's up, brother? What's up with you?
I'm hungry. That's what's up.
I hear you, man. I hear you, man. Well, hey, go ahead and get you that Uber Eats, get yourself something to eat as soon as we're over, and enjoy the rest of your night.
Well, listen, I cooked some salmon and I had some quinoa in there, but I'm like, you know what? While she's talking, maybe I can eat, but didn't happen that way. And I was like, they're wrapping up. I'll just have to eat when I'm done. It's all good though.
Well, brother, I appreciate you being here. Just to kind of give you a little bit of an introduction, and you can share what you can. I know that you are a keynote speaker. I know you're a strategy coach. I know that you also, guys, for anybody not familiar with this man's an author of a book called You Got the Digits, Now What? So certainly you can check out his profile, check out his Instagram feed. You can also check out his personal website, and just introduce yourself, man. Because like I said, I had the pleasure of meeting you last week on Mr. Chris Casper's show, which is a great show that he does every single Wednesday night, suited up. And it was really such a pleasure to see you and share, some really cool stuff about you on his show.
Yeah, man, it was. Thank you for even wanting to have me on your show from that show. And you reached out. I said, of course, bro, let's run it. I didn't know much of you, but I felt you had good energy. And
Well, I appreciate that, man. Hopefully I can live up to that just a little bit. So if you kind of want to introduce anything about you, anything you want to share about, your
Sure.
book, or, a little bit of your background.
Sure, yeah. So I'll keep it short and sweet because I know you're running a tight ship for the hour. But hey, I'm Darius Brown. As some of you may know, I see some familiar people in the crowd. I'm Darius Brown. I'm your conversation coach, and I love to help people have conversations that are memorable and irresistible. And I believe there are principles and strategies that have authentic and affecting and connecting conversation. And when we learn them, we can keep conversations going and engaging. So I released a book called You Got the Digits, Now What? It's 104 early dating questions that people can ask. People have been revolutionizing their dating experiences from asking these questions to people on these dates and on the phone, and getting a better response out of people. So I'm loving the responses I'm getting from people. So if you guys want access to that book, make sure you guys click on my page, click in the Instagram, and the link is in the bio.
Yeah, definitely check him out, man. Because like you said, if you're trying to create or generate a relationship with anyone, I think it's like you said, to your point, it's really important to ask the right questions. It's also really important to know what not to ask, because you can certainly dig yourself an early grave and dig yourself a deep trap real quick if you're not asking the right questions.
Right. That's very true. If you ask the wrong questions, like I know a lot of people ask do-based questions.
Mhm.
And I'm going to segue this so smooth into the topic. Watch this. A lot of people ask do-based questions. Do-based questions are qualifying questions instead of quality questions,
Right.
right? Like, what do you do weekends? What do you do in your free time? And these are cool, but they're not quality questions to get quality from someone. So instead of asking, what do you do? You may ask, what's one thing you really enjoy about the work you do?
Right.
That's totally different than what
It's
do you do?
way more unique. Right.
Way more unique, right? Instead of asking how you doing as you're doing the check-in, you may want to ask, um, like, what's one thing that happened to you today that was good? Right? And so you want to really paint pictures with questions to invite them into answering it with quality. I was in the clubhouse room earlier and I was telling some women how to ask certain questions to men. And so someone would text somebody on the stage, and then before we closed the room, they said, hold on. The guy texted me back. I asked him, hey, tell me one good thing that happened to you today. And the guy responded, was like, I'm so happy you asked me this question. I feel like I had a productive day. He started to tell her all about his day. And she was so happy she got that response from just adding a twist to questions. And the questions you ask determines the quality you gauge from someone, but
Mhm.
it also can spark some sense of loyalty to the relationship. So let's talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, you hit the nail on the head when you say that. I've always been a firm believer, and I've certainly tried to implement this in my own personal life, that I think a lot of times with any relationship that you have, boyfriend, girlfriend, really good friends, best friends, whatever the case may be, I think a lot of times it's not what you say to someone, it's how you say it. And like you said, you made a great point, with your book. It's like you got to ask the right questions. It's not sometimes always what you ask, it's how you ask them. If you present them in a certain way that people are able to look at it and be like, wow, that's unique. Wow,
Right.
that's different. That's not something that I've necessarily been asked multiple times over and over again. It starts to get that person to think a lot like, wow, he's certainly bringing a little bit different to the table. And I like that. It makes you unique. It makes you stand out. It makes you separate from the whole crowd. So, yeah.
I love what you just said about how you can ask a different question a different way and it shows somebody's loyalty towards you because it shows they have effort.
Right.
So as you were talking, a thought crossed my mind, and it was this: loyalty is determined by your ability and effort to listen to someone,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, I love that.
Loyalty is determined by your ability and effort to listen to someone. If someone doesn't want to listen to you or position themselves to listen, then how can they be loyal to you?
Right.
So,
Completely agree. I think a lot of times people fail to realize that you learn a lot when you listen. You learn a lot when you listen. I think it's important to do that because if you're not, there's a difference between hearing someone and listening to someone. You can hear the radio all day long, but if you're not listening to the song, you're not, the lyrics aren't hitting with you. The song meaning is it probably going to stick with you? And I think that that's really huge in being able to do that. Because like you said, loyalty is everything. I think that when you have people that are important to you, they stick by you, they listen to what you have to say, you're listening to what they have to say, and it all works together in a way that makes a wonderful recipe for whatever conclusion or outcome that you're trying to have.
mm, I love that you said that about listening is about absorbing the next person, right? Like you said, like the lyrics in the song, we got to look at people as songs in a way. Am I
Right.
absorbing the lyrics to this song, or am I just like listening to the beat?
Yeah,
And sometimes we listen to the beat of people instead of actually listening to the lyrics of what they're saying.
absolutely.
And that, yeah, that, if you go to a concert, if you go to a big artist's concert and you get to sit in the front row, or you're in the front row standing up, you listen to the beat a long time. Yeah,
Right.
but then say if he gets in the crowd and he puts the mic in your face to sing the lyrics and you don't
You
know the
don't know
lyrics
them.
because you've been listening to the beat the whole time. So it's like when someone that you say you love or you're loyal to is kind of ask you to recall certain things about the interactions you had, and you can't do it because you've been listening to the beat. You haven't been paying attention and listening. And so I love that. I love that you said that.
Yeah. Um, have you had a lot of experience in your own personal life with loyalty? Have you had people that you feel like are very loyal to you? Are there also people in your own life that you feel like you've been very loyal to? Because, like you said, I've always been a firm believer in that. You know, you can have a whole lot of acquaintances. You can have a whole lot of people that think that they know you or that you know them or whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, those circles are small. Those relationships, that loyalty that you have, there's a fine line between acquaintances and loyalty. And you have to know the difference. You have to know where your loyalty is. You have to know where people stand. And also, people need to know where you stand, I feel like, in order to have great relationships with people. So if you have any examples of loyalty or what it means to you or things that you've done in your own personal life to offer to other people for them to be like, hey, wow, this dude's really loyal to me. I mean, this is a cool cat right here.
I love that question right there, honestly. It brings a thought to me, and I'll give it on both sides. I've had people in my life who've been loyal to me, again, because they first listened to me.
Mm-hmm.
And when you listen to someone, you're able to see, how can I serve them?
Right.
Right? Because listening is supposed to translate into actions
It should.
eventually. And when listening translates to actions, that represents loyalty. There's a connection between the words you've given me and my actions towards you. And if that is consistent, that's loyalty.
Mm-hmm.
Now, however, certain people can act like they're listening to you, but then they're listening to themselves. And that's where jealousy comes in and disloyalty happens. I've had that too. I'm not sure if you experienced that before,
Right.
where
Yeah.
somebody, you can really be giving someone the best of you. You're on their team, you're for them, but all they can listen to are their insecurities of why they are not where you are or why they can't do what you do. And I've had rare occasions where people have come out and say, you know what, I apologize. I was jealous. And that's why I act this way. Or I was jealous because you seemed to exceed me in this area and I was ahead of you and you just came out of nowhere. So I've had maybe two situations where guys have done that as friends. But yeah, I think a lack of loyalty comes when people start to listen to themselves concerning you instead of actually asking clarifying questions and not listening to their own trauma or assumptions. And
Right.
so,
Yeah.
that's been my experiences.
I think a lot of times people are, a lot of times people are human. I think we all make mistakes. I think we all try to learn from our mistakes and not make them again. And I think that as we do that, we're going to make mistakes. You try to learn. That's the most important thing, I think, especially for loyalty, is when you make mistakes, you're able to fix that. Just like any relationship that you have with people, you're able to fix that. You're able to figure out what's wrong or where you kind of got off the path and get back to where you want to be. So you feel loyalty, you feel the loyalty, you feel loyal to the people that are around you, and you certainly feel like that they're giving that back to you because it's all about the energy. If you're giving out good vibes, you're giving out good energy, and you're giving out, the best version of yourself, people resonate with that. People look at that as being something that they want to be around, and that they'll be able to offer that to you as well by the loyalty that they have because they see that like, wow, this is someone that I really translate with. This is someone that I really want to have in my aura. And so they're loyal to you. And you want to be able to also give that in return, I think.
I like that you said that about giving it in return. What if I pose the thought that people are not loyal to you, that people are actually loyal to themselves?
Mm-hmm.
And then we are loyal to people who are loyal to us. I hope I'm making sense when I say that.
Yeah, you are. I mean, some of that can be what I call transference.
Mhm.
Some of that can be where, you can transfer that. You can, if you're giving it off in a bad way, that's what people are taking. If you're giving it in a good way,
Right.
then that's what they're receiving because
Well,
that's what you're putting out.
Yeah, so what you're saying is accurate. I think what I'm saying is when I started going on myself, I got you. So when I started going on my self-love journey and my self-growth journey, going through therapy and things of that nature, one of the biggest things I learned was that I wasn't loving myself properly. I was always loyal to the development of others because I grew up giving. I've been working since I was in middle school. So I
Right.
grew up giving and providing for people. And so sometimes I found value in my ability to provide and give to people. And I had to find the value in loving myself and putting myself first and being loyal to myself first. Now, when I'm loyal to myself first, no one can come in my life and not be loyal to what I'm loyal to.
Right.
So if you want to be loyal to what I'm loyal to, then I can be loyal to what you're loyal to, as long as it aligns with my values.
Right. No, I completely agree. I think it's important because, you have to love yourself. You can't expect other people to love you if you're not loving yourself, because it shows. If you don't have the confidence, if you don't have the execution plan, if you don't have all the little pieces and parts that work to make the machine going, that's when it all falls apart. And people see that. People feel that energy. People see what you're putting out. If you're feeding people a bunch of crap, eventually after a while they're going to taste that and they're going to see it and they're going to be like, wow, there's a wolf in sheep's clothing right there.
Hmm, that's so true.
We're getting deep, brother. We're getting
I
deep on a
love it
Monday
though.
night, and I love it.
I love it though because the level of loyalty, the thing is, you gotta be careful what you're loyal to.
Right. Facts.
You gotta be careful what and who you're loyal to.
Right.
And that's why I'm loyal to myself first, because I won't
Hmm.
fail me. I'm not gonna let me down.
Right.
If you come in my life with that same energy, that means we're going to align because I'm so loyal. I'm not, when you don't do your own self love journey, you're caught up in striving to be loyal to others in order to feel loved.
Yeah. And it's all about that feeling. You got to feel that love. And when you feel it, it makes a whole completely different, it changes the whole ball game in a whole different perspective that only do you see, but the people that are loyal to you also see. Guys, this is a show we do every single Monday night. It's called Gratitude, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And the show's about finding people who wish to show more thanks during their life. Each week we recall circumstances, people, and topics that have humbled them, to help them reflect and grow through that gratitude. And right now we're talking to my man, your conversation coach, Mr. Darius Brown, about loyalty, how important that is, to have that in your own life, how important it's been in his life, and he's certainly sharing a lot of amazing things about what it's been to him especially. And so as we talk about that, man, as we really get into this, I think it's been a great conversation. I think it's been a wonderful opportunity to learn, certainly from what you've shared. That's why I feel like that you've been very successful in the book that you wrote, in being able to ask the right questions, being able to be loyal to yourself, be able to transfer that energy to other people, and for them to be able to see and know that what you're preaching is what you're also practicing.
Indeed. I, the way you just pointed that out was amazing, bro. The way
Yeah,
you just was able to pick that apart and be like, hey, you're actually practicing this. That was
yeah,
phenomenal for me to hear. So thank you for that. Again, it goes
yeah,
again. It goes back to being loyal to who you are. Find out who you are. The first person you show loyalty to is you. If you're not being loyal to yourself, how can you expect loyalty from somebody else? And that's the thing. We're,
right.
we're expecting
Yeah,
loyalty from people and we're not loyal to ourselves. Like, what is going on here? So that's the first thing I would tell people. Find out who you are. Love and invest in yourself. Get yourself on a routine, right? Your routine for your day displays your loyalty towards yourself and your goals and your vision you have. When
yeah,
you start being loyal to yourself, other people will come in alignment
yeah.
to help you be loyal to yourself more.
Hmm.
People are only going to help you in what you're helping yourself in.
Right. No,
And
completely agree. I completely agree with that. I think that, even just using an incredibly amazing app like this to be able to social network and to be able to have, relationships on the app, off the app, it's made it certainly a tremendous difference in my life. There's a lot of people that are very loyal to me, and there's certainly a lot of people that I'm also loyal to as well. It's not just about going to people's streams. It's not just about showing love with the gifts. It's about the relationships, the conversations that you have with people. That's what makes all this, at least for me anyway, very special and very important. It separates yourself from everybody else that what you're trying to do,
hmm,
because they see that you're making the effort, they see that
oh,
you're trying
you
to,
just said it.
provide the best content.
You just said it. The key word, effort.
Hmm.
Effort. I
Yeah,
think
it's important.
we sometimes are not loyal to people because we don't feel like putting in the effort. But the effort that
Hmm.
we put into ourselves, it will be the same effort we put into other people. I
Right.
was told this week,
Completely
right?
agree.
I'm pretty intentional when I date. And so I was told this week that someone she saw she saw my vision board that I have, and in my upstairs office area, and I have like it broken down to different areas of my life, right? And I have certain
Hmm.
questions on that whiteboard that I ask myself that I have to go to every day and look at the sticky notes and see what I've done. Okay, what needs to be done today? What belief will get you there? Okay, I have all these different questions, and so I'm pretty intentional with myself. And she said, I can see why you're so intentional with in your dating life because you're very intentional with yourself.
Hmm.
And so it goes back to that loyalty piece, right?
Yeah,
Your level of
it
loyalty
does.
that
It
you
all
hold
works
to
together.
will spill over to other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Completely agree, man. That's so well said. I know a lot of people too. A lot of times will keep a gratitude journal. They jot down things that they want to apply. They jot down things that they want to work on in a particular area of their life. And I think that by doing that, you're able to put a lot of that stuff into action. I think a lot of times, you made a great point about, I feel like that uh, in a lot of relationships in your life, friendships, marriage, whatever the case may be, I feel like a lot of times what you put in is what you get out. If you're not putting a lot of energy and effort and loyalty into people that you surround yourself with, you can't exactly and necessarily expect to get that back. Because you can give and give and give all you want to, but it works together. You can't take, and you can't give. You have to have people that have the right attitude, that have the right mindset, that want to move forward in the same direction as you. And so I've always been a firm believer in that. What you put in is what you get out. That's not always entirely accurate and true, but I think a lot of times it is. If you put a lot to certain people, they appreciate that and they'll give it back.
Depends.
And that to me is loyalty too.
That is loyalty.
Hmm.
What you said is like is so true. What you give to people, you eventually will get back. Here's the caveat. The only time you won't get it back is if this person is not on their healing journey.
Right.
Because either they don't know how to receive this loyalty that you're giving, or this is such a broken place they can't give it back. Even if they want to,
Right.
they just can't because I don't have anything in me to give.
Right.
Been in that situation before where I had
Yeah.
to be like, hey, you're not in a place to give. I understand. And I had to gracefully move on, but also let them know you are loved, you are appreciated, you can heal, you can grow from this. But I'm not going to stay in a place of a lack of reciprocation or a lack
Yeah.
of loyalty.
Yeah. I agree with you too. I mean, I think we've all, been guilty of that, especially for me, at a younger age. You give all the time and you're not getting a lot back. It's like at some point you realize, hey, this isn't working for me. I'm not getting a lot back. So, the bad attitude is to stop doing that. But that's the human nature. It's like if you continue to give that and it's not reciprocated, it's not being met halfway. At some point, you're just human enough. You just say, look, kindly step away from the situation. Hey, I love you. I respect you. Thank you so much for bringing whatever you did into my life. but this just isn't working, and you have to just kind of step away from that.
This is good.
Yeah.
This is good because some people still now think loyalty is someone receiving from them
Hmm.
and they continue to give. And some people see that as loyalty. Oh, they're loyal to me. Why? Because they receive what I have to give, and them giving makes them feel like they're being loyal to them,
Yeah.
which they probably are.
Ooh,
That person's not
I love it, man.
to be if they're not reciprocating. And some people are in a place where they feel like them giving is and them receiving is loyalty. It's not. It's not. We have to raise our.
I think it's important to know the difference. I think it's important to improve because you're looking at it from a different set of goggles. You know, sometimes you can have that tunnel vision. Sometimes you can just see this and this and this and this. When you have to sort of expand out a little bit and be like, okay, this is how I have to fix it. This is maybe what I have to do and approach it differently for me to be able to be a little bit more successful with the loyalty, for me to be able to have a different definition of what that means
Hmm.
and to know the difference between, you know, how that works.
Hmm. You just said a whole mouth of gems right there, bro. You got me thinking, and I know you're gonna close out soon. You really got me thinking, about man changing your definition of what you think loyal is. You have to.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't change your definition of what loyal is, you continue to think that loyalty is you giving, 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 giving. So I love that mindset. I love what you just said. So you got my wheels turning over here.
Hey, brother, it's been a great conversation. Anything you'd like to add in closing? Anything that you'd like to share with anybody? I think again, if you want to plug, you know, your book again, author of that, you know, what you're sharing about, you know, being able to ask the right questions with people, you know, certainly touch on that one more time. I'd love for people to pick it up.
Sure.
It's I was able to skim through a little bit, you know, the e version. So
For sure. No, I appreciate you having me. Ladies and gentlemen in the crowd, e-version, ebook. Yes, an ebook. So, ladies and gentlemen in the crowd, first of all, thank you for having me and producing this wonderful conversation that is bringing healing and perspective in the room. That's what it's about first. We talked about if you want to show loyalty and you have the intent to be loyal, you have to ask the right questions to listen. Because remember, the first law of loyalty is to listen. I'll say it one
yes,
more time. The first law of loyalty is to listen. So if you're looking to position yourself to listen better and you want to ask better questions, you can definitely click in my bio. You can click on my profile. You can go to my Instagram here on the profile and then click in my bio on Instagram and you'll be able to download that book. If you don't have Instagram, you can go to dms2digits.com. That's dms2digits.com. And you can download the book there.
hey, I love it, guys. Again, check him out. Please check out his website, guys. It's called You Got the Digits. Now what? Please hit this awesome dude on just amazing guy, amazing conversations. Like I said, he's a strategy coach. He's a keynote speaker. He's an amazing author. And obviously, as you guys see, he's an incredible person to be able to have such a great conversation, a very genuine conversation with. And so please hit him with that favorite. Yeah. Somebody get him a nice dragon wise in the box would be wonderful. But again, man, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate that.
For sure. They said they can't click in my
There you go.
I was trying to see something. It's kind of freezing up over here, but they said they can't click in my profile.
But guys, I don't know if you can see it right at the bottom. There's his website, and you can also check him out on Instagram, Mr. Darius Brown. You can find him on there. You can search him on there, and there you go. It comes up then when you find that. So, guys, please hit him up. Please check him out. This guy, man, is going to start doing big things on the app. Even if he's not on the app, he's still going to be doing big things. And again, man, I just want to thank you again so much for taking the time to be here. Please go enjoy that salmon, and I appreciate you being here, dude.
Indeed. Thank you, man. We'll talk in the DMs.
All right, brother. Take care.
All right. Take care.
All right, brother. Wow, guys, what a great dude. What a great show tonight. Thank you so much again for being here. Like